Federal agencies are increasingly interested in using generative AI to improve operations, but data challenges can hinder some successful implementations. Joining me to discuss some specific strategies and tactics that agencies can employ to accelerate the adoption of AI and leverage their data assets are Garrett Berntsen, Deputy Chief Digital and AI Officer for Mission Analytics at the Department of Defense, and Mickey Iqbal, Director, Worldwide Public Sector Technologist at Amazon Web Services. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. And Garrett, I'd like to start with you. What are the biggest data challenges that DOD and federal agencies in general face when implementing generative AI solutions? And how can these challenges be better addressed through your data strategies?
Great. And first of all, thanks for having me. Obviously, look forward to the good discussion. I may actually kind of expand on your question because I think in the government sphere in particular, in the public sector, data is one piece of the challenges, but it's actually a really wide cross-cutting set of issues that we have to tackle to sort of increase and accelerate AI adoption. So, what I would say is data, of course, is a piece of that. We're working on it, but AI is a really, I would almost say it's like the invention of electricity, right? Like you had to add a lot of different changes to your workforce when electricity was invented. So we're working on things like infrastructure, training. You have to change the way you work. You have to change, the way you do cybersecurity and the way you hire. And so it's really like across all of those challenges. It's not one specific area, like just getting the data right. Here at CDAO, we have teams and initiatives both in our organization and across the broader DoD enterprise that look to tackle a lot of those sort of issues and improve them across workforce and IT and training and all of those kind of examples I gave. And so a lot of that started last year with the release of our data strategy, our AI and analytics adoption strategy. A lot of times with strategies, actually what matters is the hard work of putting it together. It's getting everybody actually on the sort of same page to publish a document. And so that was in itself a long process that drove a lot of great conversations in the department and coordination. And now we're kind of moving into executing on this strategy. And a big piece of that is the recently announced initiative that called Open Dagger. And that is our sort of like approach and framework to adding competition, adding in different software vendors, adding in a diversity of experience and talent into our infrastructure and to our ecosystem to ensure we're getting the best of industry, to ensure we're bringing the latest cutting edge technology to the problem. And so that's really a focus on sort of experimentation, acquisitions, and infrastructure. That has been our big push in the last couple of weeks, and we're going to continue to put out more information on that in the coming months.
Mickey, can you discuss some of the foundational elements of data management that really must be established to support effective AI applications in government operations?
And first of all, thank you for being part of this discussion. Really have been looking forward to this. I pretty much agree with everything that Garrett said. It's really great to hear that from a government agency about the strategy and the challenges that they're facing. And I would just second that. I mean, across the board, when we look at federal customers, we're also seeing similar challenges, which I would summarize as, data fragmentation and data silos across different agencies, having issues with data governance as well as ensuring data security, and scaling the infrastructure and making sure that they have the right performance to run the Gen AI cases, as well as, very, very important is responsible AI practices. So when you think about the key foundational elements of data management that must be established to support effective AI applications in government, I'd say about there's 5 main things that I want to talk about. First of all, there is a need for a unified data platform. Most of the federal agencies have their data in structured format, semi-structured, unstructured format. There's data coming from different sources. And so there needs to be a cloud-based, centralized data lake architecture to store and manage all the structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data across the organization. And then once you have that data in place, you need to have managed services that allow you to access this information, to ingest this information, catalog it, and then govern it properly. And then also, you got to ensure that the data platform can scale to handle the volume of growing data as well as the variety of data that's required for AI ML. So again, the first piece, the first fundamental block is having a unified data platform. The second platform, then, the second major component of this is having seamless data integration. What I mean by that is there's so many different data services and data sources that are in play here. And so we almost need kind of zero ETL integration between your operational databases, your data warehouses, your data lakes to enable rapid and cost-effective data sharing and meaningful exchange of information across these sources. The third element is having scalable analytics as well as machine learning capabilities. So what I mean by that is a lot of government agencies have very big, large data workloads that they need to run. And so they need to have the right powerful tools to be able to run analytics across these vast amount of data sources. And then they need to be able to leverage managed AI services that can scale and perform at the same time based on the use cases and the needs of the government agencies. The fourth element of this is what I call secure data governance and secure and the ability to share this as well. So, security and governance don't need to compete with each other. When we started off several years ago with IT, the meaning of governance was that you have to just hide and protect your data and just keep it from everybody else. But really, in order to have collaboration, you need to be able to share this data with the right authorized users. And so the ability to have this right governance constructs and the ability to securely share this data is extremely important. And finally, I would say there's a lot of talk about large language models and foundational models, but as our experience has shown, all the large language models have different capabilities, and really depending on the government agency's use case, you may need a different large language model for a different use case, and therefore you need to be able to access a different variety of large language models based on your use cases, and that's why Amazon services like Bedrock are extremely important because they allow you easy access, API-based access to multiple different large language models based on your use case. And these services like Bedrock also provide the guardrails that are very, very important to be able to have secure processing of your data. And then finally, they also have built-in capabilities that kind of help you practice AI in a responsible way. So these five, we think, are the fundamental elements that drive this data strategy and data management for AI.
I'd love to add to that, in particular, talking about kind of what's the so what of why we do data management. It can feel sometimes kind of theoretical or technical, and that's important. It is a discipline. We need to sort of be able to do it the right way. But it's important, especially DOD, we're very mission focused, right? So our guiding light is like, does the warfighter, does the strategic decision maker have the data that they need when they need it? And can they trust that data? And we have our own, that we have an acronym around how we think about data management. It's important. I'm not, I'm not trying to look down on that, but like at the end of the day, the point is the mission outcome. It is giving people what they need to sort of to fight and win America's wars, to make strategic decisions. And so we use that lens as really the driver for how we do data management. If someone needs it, if there's a mission need, can they get it? Is it solving their problem? And that's the purpose of data management. It is to have that mission outcome. I just want to emphasize that. I think it's important for us.
Appreciate that. So Garrett, let me see if we can drill down a little. Can you describe a use case where DOD successfully pivoted its approach to enabling, say, a pilot AI use case? And can you also talk about what changes were made to the data management practices to enable that?
I can give a couple of examples. First, I'll say here at CDAO, we have stood up something almost a year ago now called Task Force Lima, and that is our big sort of response to the increased interest and demand across the department in AI, in particular Gen AI, but a lot of different use cases. And just in like a very short amount of time, Task Force Lima working across the services and across the DAFAs, they found like over 200 something use cases, and I would bet there are more. So I only raise that to say the department sometimes can be seen as risk averse and not wanting to try new things, but people are motivated by this technology and they're looking to experiment rapidly and find ways to use these sort of cutting edge technologies. A couple examples I'll use, maybe a little bit generically somewhat, but you can assume, you can imagine some of the use cases here, right? Like we have huge platforms that collect lots of raw video and imagery and things like full motion video capture of object detection at long ranges, right? They're testing the use of that for a lot of different either maritime or air sort of use cases. We also, internal to my organization, the CDAO in particular, I'll say just the work of doing sort of data cleaning and aggregation. As you can imagine, we have a lot of legacy IT systems that are often calculating or counting things in different ways. And so just to do like sort of machine learning driven data aggregation and cleaning, and then using human assisted sort of learning approaches, that alone can help save a lot of time and get us to, in particular, the use case I'm thinking about is a secure supply chain use case where we need to get a common data model built, and actually AI can help even before you do the analytics. It can help with the cleaning and save a lot of time to sort of empower the team to spend less time cleaning data, which if you've ever worked on an analytics team or data science team, that's what you spend most of your time doing, trying to get the data right. So that's another case. And then the last I'll say, and just shout out to our Air Force colleagues because they have really led the way. I'm taking no credit for this. It's a great team at the Air Force. They've released and announced something called Nipper GPT, right? And so they're testing and getting customers access to large language models to look through their use, look through their business processes. How can they use it to expedite and improve sort of their workflows and stuff? And that has been a great initiative. And here at CDAO, we're in the OSD level. We want to champion and sort of highlight and learn all the lessons learned from all these other great initiatives happening across the whole department.
Those are some great examples. Mickey, have you seen any others of note?
Another example that we've seen is with the Veterans Administration here in the US. So the 2022 PACT Act expanded benefits for over 5 million veterans. And the average benefit application packet contained about 100 plus documents, which averaged 13 to 15 pages that could each take approximately 30 minutes to review per document. And so VA needed to expedite disability benefit determination by reducing the number of manual reviews of these documents. So they pivoted to, they needed to extract the raw text and benefit up from these benefit application documents and then be able to process and search them very quickly. And overall, they needed to process about 400 million documents, which were about 10 billion plus pages from the expanded benefits under the 2022 PACT Act. And so they implemented a large-scale document processing pipeline using Amazon TextRack, which is one of our AI services, to extract this raw text from documents and to achieve more efficiencies. And at the end, they ended up achieving estimated about 9x efficiency over the manual process. And this also kind of enabled them to build a smart search engine to then quickly find and review the relevant document, minimize the number that needed to be reviewed manually. So this is also, I think, a great example where machine learning applications were used by a government agency to provide efficiencies to a process that benefited a very important mission of serving the veterans.
And it's a great example also of just the scale challenges as well, where AI can really play a major part. Which leads me kind of to my last question. And Mickey, what strategies and tactics can agencies employ to accelerate their AI adoption, particularly when managing and leveraging these large volumes of data assets?
And again, I'll speak from the experience of working across multiple agencies, as well as some of the challenges that Garrett had earlier talked about, and kind of tie this into, what are the strategies we've seen some of the very successful government agencies implement and really realize good value out of their data. So first of all, we talked about data being fragmented and there being multiple silos. So I've seen government agency employ strategies such as a modern architecture for data analytics that includes services such as a data mesh. And really what they've tried to do is kind of decentralize data ownership and management to individual organizational units while maintaining a centralized data catalog and governance. They've leveraged services, for example, AWS, Amazon's Redshift, cross-account data sharing to enable secure live access to data across their multiple different data silos, right? And this also automates the movement of data. It kind of provides the ability for self-service, for different data access requests, approvals, as well as provisioning processes. So it really hits the governance end to end. The other thing we've seen organizations, the government do very well is, when they harness the power of data, is to leverage, key managed AI ML services. So there are, already managed services out there. For example, Amazon SageMaker is one of them that allows you to very quickly, build, train, and deploy custom machine learning models, right? There's additional capabilities such as fraud detector, as well as generative AI applications like Amazon Bedrock. So what we've seen customers do successfully is, in terms of their strategies, is rather than creating everything from scratch, use some of these managed services to attain their goals and to focus on their mission outcome rather than just being focused on the nuts and bolts of technology. Extremely important data governance, right? And so it's very important for these agencies to have a centralized data catalog and kind of a registry to provide them a unified view across all of their available data sets. That also kind of helps them ensure end-to-end data security and compliance. So we've seen them use these managed services, especially from AWS. They've used AWS Glue, AWS Lake Formation to help them with their governance needs. The fourth important thing that I see government agencies apply in the strategy is to help their stakeholders, which could be internal or external, have the ability to have self-service for analytics and AI. So just provide them with the right dashboards that have the built-in analytics engines and AI ML capability that quickly sort through the data and give them insights, forecasts, answers to questions that they like. So for example, Amazon QuickSight, as well as Amazon Q for Business, are services that we see customers use in this specific area. And finally, extremely important to all the agencies is how do you optimize performance while optimizing costs? So you want scale and growth for your high performance workload, but you want to do it in a very, very cost-effective manner. And so this is where it's a very important strategy to take advantage of cost-effective and scalable compute options, storage options, and services so that it allows you to scale very, very fast globally if you need to, but then also do it at a cost-optimized point that you can afford and you can grow with as well. So we've got several, Amazon AWS services that help our customers in this area as well. So, these are the strategies which, once the government agencies implement, we've seen them accelerate their AI adoption journey, unlock value from the data assets, as well as deliver innovation.
And Garrett, I'm curious, over the past years, you've been putting these different programs together for your teams and your constituents and the warfighters at the end. What other practical advice would you offer?
So I might have a slightly different sort of focus area, and mine is basically talent. I think everything works backwards from technical talent, in particular, the need for strong government technical talent. If we're trying to drive adoption, culture and skills are often the hardest thing to tackle. And a lot of the government has a lot of technology, not everything. We need more, and we're working to onboard better technology all the time. And it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but if you want people to take advantage of those technologies, even existing technologies that we have, you have to have sort of government technologists, champions, people who understand both the technology and the mission, and we need them close to the mission, as close as we can get them. And we need them listening to customers and sort of delivering and evangelizing. And so I think that is the number one thing that I've seen work so far in government. And I'll give just a couple specific examples. At DOD here, we have this program called the ADA program, the AI and Data Accelerator program. And this is a placement of government technologists in our combatant commands and our joint staff. And the idea is if those organizations that are closer to the warfighter, that are sort of have geographic and functional requirements, if we want them to adopt AI and data, they need people in the room who are government staff who can say, this is what we need to do. This is the priority. And that program has been around for a couple of years. It's a big priority for our deputy secretary. She's done announcements and press and stuff about this program in particular. And it's a good example. We're looking at similar models in the Office of the SecDef, and we have a program called our Analytic Product Teams, APTs, and those are kind of taking the same concept with our principal staff assistants. So giving them talent, giving them some support. It's almost like we're sending a landing team, to the island to set up comms with the rest of the department, or to put down some initial routes and build some capabilities. Because a lot of times once you put something in front of these leaders who may be initially kind of skeptical and say, I'm solving a problem for you, people start to see that it can make a big impact on their mission. And then you get people bought in, and you have people talking about resources and scaling use cases, and then leveraging the technology that Mickey was just talking about. So for me, just to sort of beat it to death, I mean, talent is everything. There's a reason that in industry, the war for talent is super hot. Private companies understand they can win if they have the best people and they're empowered. And so we're taking a similar approach to trying to bring in the best technical talent and then empower them to have an impact.
Well, Garrett Berntsen and Mickey Iqbal, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to share your respective perspectives on how to accelerate the adoption of AI and the importance of leveraging data assets more efficiently. So thank you both very much for being with us.
Thank you.